All right, here we are. This is episode 3 of the platform. This week we're talking to Brodie Seger. Nick, you spoke with Brodie about a month ago. How did that conversation go?
It was good. It was fun. Those of you who know Brodie know that he likes to talk. And so we had a good chat, ran a little long, but we covered every race this season pretty much and got some really good insight out of him. So please enjoy.
Sounds good. Well, here we have Canadian team member and BC ski team alumni, Brodie Seger.
Okay. Ready?
I'm ready.
All right. How are you? I'm ready. I'm born. How are things?
I'm doing pretty well. I can't really complain.
What's new?
Not too much. Been riding my bike a lot lately, which has been very enjoyable. And just training at home, making the most of what we got here.
Yeah, that's good. I will start, I guess, at the beginning of your season, and you got off to a pretty sweet, spectacular start in Lake Louise. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Do you want me to talk about that?
Sure. I'd love to hear your perspective.
Yeah, I was really excited about the way things started this season. It always feels good to get a couple good results like that right off the bat and sort of get that pressure off, or that weight off your shoulders. And I've had other seasons where the very beginning maybe was not great, even if the prep period was going great, and all of a sudden, you get through the first race or the first couple races and things are not going your way, and it's always a challenge because you got to figure out how to, if your prep season was going well, you need to figure out how to just put those things past you, and you got a whole other season ahead of you just because the start didn't pan out as you were hoping it would. It doesn't mean it's all over, but so that felt really good this season to have a bit of a different experience and just have it sort of like a weight off my shoulders right off the bat, and start things off on the right foot, feeling good about it. And did you feel like your prep was going well? Like, were you really confident going into Lake Louise? And I guess for the people that maybe don't know, like, you started, what was your bib? Do you remember in the Super G? 57. And
finished 16th, right?
Yeah.
So leading up to that, did you feel like you knew you were in a good spot? Was it a surprise? Were you confident all summer with what you were doing on your skis?
I was feeling pretty good for sure. I mean, I don't want to sound like I was coming into the season like, oh yeah, I'm ready to just absolutely kick butt and take over the world. Like I don't feel like I get that sort of cocky feeling when things are going well in the prep period. Like I'm more reserved about that, I guess I could say. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But having said that, like, I did think things were going well, or at least I felt good about how I was skiing and just how I was feeling on my skis. And I also was just feeling good about what we had under our belts. Like, we got a lot of really high quality speed training in the prep season last year, which was really lucky. I mean, it's you never know when you're, let's say, going over to Zermatt to try and get a good block of speed training. You don't know if you're just going to get totally crap weather for that week, and who knows how it pans out. And we ended up being really lucky with that, and then getting a whole bunch more really good speed training in Nikiska and Pano right before the season started. So definitely feeling good on my skis after that. I also felt like we were in a pretty good spot as a group. Like I think a lot of guys were feeling good going into the season, but I also felt like at the beginning of the season in particular, there was a bit of a vibe like, okay, a bunch of us now are ready to like put our nose in there, and we've had some well, most of us have had a little bit of experience dabbling in World Cup for the last season or couple seasons. And it's kind of like, okay, we are all skiing so much better than where we're at right now. Like it's time to make a move. We are worth more than this. And we can do a lot better than this. So like, why not? Like, this is a time, let's do it. This is our time.
And was that a feeling, or was that something that, did you guys actually verbalize that at any point, like leading into the season? Was it like, let's go get it? Or do you think it was just a collective feeling that the whole group
had? I can't honestly remember a particular time where we necessarily verbalized it or had like a little powwow, pump up chat or something like that. But maybe in smaller conversations between us. But I kind of felt like that was the vibe, at least.
Yeah.
In the group.
That's cool. That's cool. So then you get that great start in Lake Louise, and then you go down to Beaver Creek, right?
Yeah.
And how was that?
It was, well, those first 2 weeks, Lake Louise and Beaver Creek were interesting. Well, actually, I gotta say, I think it all started right before Lake Louise, actually, when we had those two coaches cup races in Pano. When
right. Yes.
We were there. Yeah, the Swiss team was there. Like bunch of World Cup athletes that happened to be training in Pano and just have a race on Old Timer, which we know like the back of our hands. And that was definitely a moment. I mean, like I said, I had been feeling pretty good on my skis in the prep period, and then just tried to use that as an opportunity to just ski with confidence and with the good feeling I had in training up until that point. And I wasn't really expecting a whole lot from that. And then all of a sudden just winning one of those races in a field with a bunch of World Cup dudes. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty, like, also a flat hill that I'm not generally that good at. Like, that feels pretty good. Like, okay, now I feel really good about it.
Right.
Skiing.
I can't believe I forgot about that. That's fun.
Yeah, Panorama World Cup. How could you forget?
Yeah.
But then going into Lake Louise and Beaver Creek, it was interesting how they panned out, because it was similar in both of those weeks. Lake Louise, the downhill was first and the Super G the next day. And in the downhill, I had a bit of a disappointing result. A couple mistakes, but again, a couple fast intervals. So it was kind of like a bittersweet moment. Like, oh, I had a lot of good stuff going on. I was so close, but made a couple mistakes and blew it. But I got another chance tomorrow, and that it ended up obviously panning out, having a really good result in the Super G, which was great because I at least had something really positive and exciting to walk away with from that weekend. It wasn't just two sort of rough days. But then a similar experience in Beaver Creek. We had the Super G first, and again, same thing. Like, had a lot of great splits. I was like top 10 in the I think in the first two splits, and then kind of blew it in the middle section, and then was pretty fast on the bottom again. So another like bittersweet, oh, I was so close moment. And then I get another chance in the downhill tomorrow, and that worked out really well. Another great result. And then I think that was a really important thing in those first 2 weeks. The fact that I was skiing fast, at least, and making mistakes, as opposed to just like coming down a little bit reserved and feeling like I left something out on the hill. That was a really important thing, to be like, okay, the pieces were there. Mistakes happen. That's okay. Like, I get another shot tomorrow, instead of having that just demoralizing feeling of like, I blew it. I didn't even go for it,
Yeah. That's sweet. And then, so then you come back to Lake Louise for the NORAMs, and then your next World Cup is your next World Cup Bormio? Because
next one, well, yeah, but only because everything in Val Gardena
right
turned into an absolute mess. But
and then was that your first time in Bormio?
Yeah, it was first time Val Gardena and Bormio.
Okay. And did you get a training? Did you guys get a training run in Val Gardena?
We did. Come on, you haven't read my story?
Oh, I do this just from the. I just come from the top here. That's why I forgot your win at the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
professionally, but then it would ruin the appeal.
It was a bit of a gong show of a week just because the forecast was nasty, and it wasn't looking like it was going to get any better as we got closer to the weekend. So there was a push to get the training runs off, even though it was not exactly anywhere close to ideal conditions. But first time seeing a fully salted downhill track, that was something. That was kind of funny, actually, like inspecting a new course. So trying to get a feel for all the oh my god, so much terrain on that course in Val Gardena. It's a lot to remember for sure, your first time going down there. And it was hilarious because I guess I don't know how they go about salting a full downhill track like that, or throwing fertilizer on it, but it looked like somebody had just skied the exact line down, like slowly, while dropping fertilizer or whatever, because I guess the fertilizer has brown specks in it, and there was sort of a trail of these brown specks down the race line the whole way down the course. So being my first time there, like it was a little visual, to be like, oh yeah, this is exactly the line. You stop at your coach and they're like, oh, yeah, where the brown line goes there. And it's like, yeah, it's perfect. I got it laid out for me right there. But yeah, we ended up getting a training run, which I'm really happy about. I got to at least run that downhill once, not from the very top, but still, and it's so much fun. And it was weird because it was like wet, mushy snow and salted, but still an absolute blast. And then very unfortunate the way the Super G went, getting shut down like one athlete before me. So I it felt like so much happened that week.
Was that like 2 p.m. or?
I think that was like 3:30.
Yeah.
Because I remember it was a cloudy, dark day already. That's why we had the holds. It was fog rolling in and out. Then when I was at the start and standing right next to the timing board when they shut it down, and I just look over and see it's like 3:25 or something like that. I'm going, oh, this is a bad sign. and just like you look around and it was that time of day where it feels like it just clicks and all of a sudden the lights start dimming like so quickly. And I'm looking around like, okay, it's not actually just cloudy now. It's like getting dark. The sun is gone. The sun is going down. So that was a weird next week and new experience in my World Cup season, because it felt like so much happened that week, yet also absolutely nothing happened for me really. It didn't race at all.
Yeah. And then you did Christmas over there, right?
I did Christmas and my birthday over there. That was new as well. That was pretty cool though. Yeah, different.
Yeah. And then was Bormio, was that a wild experience? How would you describe that whole?
Bormio was sick, man. Bormio is wild, and I mean, I've heard people talk about it before, and I had a bit of a notion that it could be a good track for me beforehand, just because people always talked about how it's more technical. It's icy and dark most of the way and bumpy, and I generally don't have an issue with I like ice, and the dark doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah.
It's no secret that I'm not the best glider, so I was like, okay, this is being better for me, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, it proved to be a really fun track, and it's wild, and it's pretty gnarly and scary in some parts, but and it's like people were saying, oh, it's the most tiring thing you'll ever do, and I thought, like, I really, like, it's 30 seconds shorter than Wengen, and people talk about how that's so tiring, like, how could this, it can't be, and then sure enough, I mean, it's partly probably that time of year too, because you've been going hard for a while, but oh man, coming down the last pitch, like, now I understand why so many guys, when you're watching on TV, they just look not at their peak form coming down that last pitch, like, and you're kind of watching thinking, like, why does everybody look so ragged down here? It doesn't look like there's anything that gnarly. Well, yeah, this like gradual compression in the last turn before the finish actually just completely juices your legs. Like, you got tunnel vision down there, and that's why nobody's tucking through there, because you gotta straight leg it so you don't just stump out and look like an idiot. That was cool. It was the real deal, that's for sure.
That's sweet. And then you came home and got a little break, or did you? Yeah.
I got 3 days. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's all you need. That was in Canada, though.
Yeah, I came home for 3 days over New Year's, and then shipped off right away again to the east for those NORAMs in Burke and Stowe.
And you got your first NORAM win.
Got my first NORAM win, so mission accomplished there.
Nice work. And then
very good.
Over to Vegas.
When I saw the time, like, when we were all waiting at the timing board, and they finally wrote down the time, and we all realized, because it was like 700 spread on the podium or something like that. So it took us all a second to realize, okay, who actually won. And then I got so fired up and, like, yelled, and I had a bunch of people look at me like, why is this jerk so fired up? And I was like, that's the first time I ever won a NORAM. Like, I've been trying to do this for I don't know how long.
For like 6 years.
Yeah. So many people like, really? You never won a NORAM? I'm like, no.
That's awesome.
It's my moment.
That's funny. I was surprised that it was your first too, but then I went back and it was.
Your memory is clearly not very good,
Okay, and then speaking of my memory, then you went to Wengen.
And I went to Wengen.
And then you put your face through in it.
Yeah, I got my first A-net kiss in Wengen.
Okay.
Look at me, well.
Is it? Yeah, I mean, like I said before we started recording, you're very handsome. So, yeah, so then you take Wengen off, right, after that crash?
Yeah, well, that was in the combined on the Friday. So yeah, I was supposed to race Saturday as well. Ended up taking that day off. I wasn't in that rough shape. Like, my face, little rash, whatever, was fine. I had a bit of whiplash in my neck. But mind you, you're going into Kitzbühel week 2. You want to make sure you're in good shape. And we only had so many spots that Sam was not going to be able to race the downhill. And this is kind of one of those things, like, what's the sense in me pushing when I'm not feeling 100% and doing the downhill when Sam can do it? Like, that's just, yeah, he's a better shot,
Yeah, sure.
So that was a new experience there, actually, and that was a good learning experience too, because if you talk about Bormio and Wengen, like, both probably the two most physically demanding courses on the circuit, and Bormio, I feel like I handled that, like, going into it first time, I handled it really well, just because I guess because it's there's a lot going on, and it's pretty gnarly. I felt like I was just focused on the skiing and what I had to do, and really putting my nose into it, because you don't really have another option there. You can't back off. And then Wengen's kind of different, because it's super long and demanding as well, but in a totally different way, I would say. You got long straightaways where you're sitting in your tuck, and then you got to focus again for some big turns, like long drawn out turns, and a lot of weird timing stuff like the Kern and S, and I felt like I didn't have as good of an approach there. Like I was maybe a little bit too caught up on all that tactical stuff with the course and where I wanted to be on the right line in these, massive turns where you could be all over the place. Yeah. Instead of just like focusing on the skiing and letting that stuff kind of take care of itself. So that was a good learning experience on the one hand, like two courses that I was seeing for the first time, basically, and one where I focused on the right things and it worked out pretty well, and then Wengen maybe not quite having the right focus, and definitely did not go quite as well. But that's not why I crashed. That was just I don't know, just a mistake.
Yeah. It'll happen. And then Kitzbühel weekend.
Kitzbühel weekend was it was up and down. I was definitely starting to feel pretty worn down by that point, not gonna lie. Like, I hadn't had a lot of time off since the beginning of the season, and I mean, I had a lot of people actually ask me if I felt like that crash, I don't know, like, wore me down a little bit or something like that. I don't think that had anything to do with it, honestly. I think it just happened that I was starting to sort of feel the fatigue settle in a little bit more at that point of the season. But I felt like I was still skiing pretty well in kits, and I was lucky that my body was feeling pretty good after Wengen. It was recovering. My neck was recovering fast, and then the Super G. Yeah, we had the Super G before the downhill. I can't remember if we were delayed that day or what.
Super G day?
Oh, Super G. Yeah, Super G. I am getting into the gate. Like I'm a couple racers out, and I can't remember who. Somebody puts it in the fence, and I can hear all the people that are standing over by the TV. Ooh, and stop start right away. Oh yeah, we gotta fix the fences. Okay, great. I click out of my skis, and it was Stian Saugestad in front of me. He was gonna go next. I'm pretty sure or he was maybe the first one. I can't remember. He was one of those guys. So we click out of our skis, wait around a little bit, stay warm, kind of trying to keep the mood light. And they get everything fixed up. We get all buckled in, ready to go back in the zone. Stian goes in front of me, and like 10 seconds, it felt like 10 seconds after he's out of the gate. Oh, stop, start again, pull me back. Yeah, it's gonna be like 5-10 minutes. Got to fix the fences. I'm like, what the hell's going on down there? Like, of course this is happening now. And it was getting darker on course. Like that's one place where when you have a later bib, it for sure just gets really dark, the way the sun moves there. And I mean, I knew it was rough, but I didn't know where anybody was having these issues and putting it in the fence. But I was definitely feeling the nerves get to me a little bit, just being held a couple times. It's pretty hard to not have that bother you a little bit. But I when we got going again and I got clicked in, they sent a forerunner. I was just thinking to myself, like, okay, it's time to go now, and I'm not gonna waste this run. Like, I'm not gonna go out and be backed off now because I've had a couple holds in front of me. Like, screw this, I want to go out and be confident and put my nose into this thing still. And I think overall I executed pretty well, but made a little mistake in the middle and didn't carry my speed that well through the middle flat, and came down into 30th, and I was like, yeah, like, okay, that's good, but I'm 30th. I'm right on the cusp. I don't know if this is gonna hold. So that was like a bittersweet moment on the edge. And then sure enough, like 2 guys after me, Roman Bauman comes down, and he was the last one to put it into the top 30 and just bumps me out. So again, it was like, oh, so close, and nobody, like, so many guys were having trouble making that move into the points. So it was a tough day for that in general, but I was like, oh, so close, come on. But that fired me up a little bit for the next day. And
because you need to be fired up for Kitzbühel downhill day. That's to get out of bed or what?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's pretty boring otherwise.
Energy's real low.
Yeah. Yeah, that was another one that, so bittersweet, because I think I actually skied that course really well. I was really happy about everything. Just one kind of crucial mistake coming out of the Stahlhang and just about lost it right there and had to save myself before the fence, which is also when you hit that pancake flat road for like 20 seconds afterwards. Yeah. So that killed me. And that was one of those moments where, like, you know, it just, like, you know, you probably just killed your race because you're going on to a dead flat, but at the same time you're only like 30 seconds into the course and you're like, I got so much left, I need to keep attacking. And on one hand I was happy because I felt like the rest of it was really good, but it was starting to bug me a little bit then, that I kept having like one mistake like that would kind of wreck things. At least salvaged a few points though, and big day for Campbell finishing just ahead of me too. So we were all pretty fired up on that.
Yeah, no, that was good. That was good.
You remember that one, huh?
Yeah. And then Garmisch, Saalbach, Wittfeld. Is that how the season ends?
And Hinterstoder.
Oh, Hinterstoder.
Yeah.
And what GS do you do? Oh, Garmisch.
I did Garmisch. Yeah. Weird couple races there. Like Garmisch, Saalbach was not actually. Well, yeah, Garmisch, Saalbach, and Hinterstoder. We had kind of all over the place weather.
Yeah.
Those places, and I didn't want to say garbage, but to avoid sounding pessimistic, but it was pretty garbage. Not gonna lie. Like Garmisch was also pretty much fully salted, and it had been raining on us. It snowed a ton, like the day we showed up actually, and then it rained a little bit most of the days that we were there. Tough conditions in on that hill. I would say just. It's more on the flat side, I guess, and in
the top,
and when it's a little bit mushy, like that just makes things harder in that sort of moderate terrain, I'd say. Yeah. But then we also went around the left side, the women's run. That was the first time going down that way, and that part actually is super in your face. That part feels like it comes at you so fast. And I was really fired up to get my first GS start there too. But that day, it was raining that day too. Actually, it was just starting to sprinkle as I was like getting into the gate, and it was salted and big dish ruts and pretty gnarly. And I remember just pushing out of the gate and like 10 gates into the course feeling like, oh my God, my legs are smoked. And that was, I think, just a rough day because I really wanted that GS start too. Like I had felt like I was skiing well in GS all season, and I was really hoping to get to start a GS sometime. And I was feeling pretty damn tired, but at the same time, I really wanted that start, and decided to go for it instead of taking a day off, and then just ended up feeling like totally gassed and kind of thinking maybe I should have just taken that day off. And, but we should go live and learn.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're in the points in it was Hinterstoder? Was that the weird?
Saalbach Super G. Got a few more points. Another weird day because it was it was snowing in the morning and kind of turned to rain and was super windy too. We had a long hold in the just hanging out in the athlete hospitality. Actually, I think most of us thought that race was not going to happen for sure. Just didn't seem like the wind was letting up, and it didn't seem like there was any way we could have, even if we ran the race, it wouldn't necessarily have been dangerous, but it didn't seem like there's any way we could have a fair race.
Right.
And then it seemed like it did kind of calm down. But then it was kind of a dark, snowy, rainy almost day, weird kind of wet snow, lowered start, got kind of gnarly, but yeah, worked out. I think that was honestly not my best skiing at all, but a lot of guys were having trouble with that course and a lot of DNFs that day. So I got a little bit lucky that way for sure, that I just skied well enough to get in the points. But
hey, you got luck sometimes, right?
You gotta take what you can get. It's just one of those weird days where you got something good out of it, but you don't necessarily walk away feeling like proud of what you did.
But still, I mean,
yeah,
take advantage, right? Like especially Super G, where people are going to make mistakes.
Oh yeah.
Right. And then I guess the season ends pretty abruptly after that.
Yeah. Another difficult, rough Super G in really warm conditions in Hinterstoder, and then Quittville was actually awesome conditions for all the downhill days. Like that was so fun, those first few days there, going back to like all of a sudden it feels like winter's come back and we actually have winter snow and it's freezing overnight and it's really hard and grippy. That was kind of refreshing actually. That was great for those first few days. And then Super G was like, right, going back in time a couple of weeks again. Wake up, it's wet, it's like fog in and out, almost raining. Actually, it was raining on us in inspection. I remember down at the bottom of the course just getting absolutely soaked. So that was short-lived.
That turned out to be the end of the season, right?
Turned out to be the end of it.
Well, that was a pretty solid recap you gave there.
Yeah, it's hard to.
You
just get me talking, you know.
That was great. We might have to make this like a 2-part episode. Now Riley's going to be really upset because we basically doubled the time.
Yeah, well, you know my mom. You know where I got the
yeah. Exactly. Well, that was really great. I appreciate you taking the time.
I appreciate you asking me good questions and remembering everything. You know?
Sweet. Okay. Well, take care, and I'll see you soon. Hopefully.
Sounds good. Nice chatting with you, Coop.
Bye, Cooper.